2 a.m. You're half asleep. Your dog is chewing at their paw again, and you already know tomorrow's plan. Another trip to the pet store for an overpriced flea treatment, or another vet visit for allergy pills that work for 2 weeks and then quit. I've watched hundreds of pet parents go through this exact cycle, and I'm about to save you from it. Here's the truth nobody tells you at the pharmacy counter. You don't need a $90 bottle of pesticide, and you don't need a prescription that just numbs the symptom. The real fix for itchy flea magnet skin is probably sitting in your kitchen right now. In the next 15 minutes, I'm going to walk you through exactly which everyday ingredients calm inflamed skin, wipe out yeast infections, and turn your dog into something fleas and ticks want nothing to do with. Quick hello for anyone new here. I'm a veterinarian, and skin problems are the single most common thing that walks through my clinic door. The standard playbook is simple. Slap a chemical on the back of the neck, hand out a pill that suppresses the immune system, repeat forever. I've never liked that approach. I want to treat the actual cause, not just quiet the symptom for a few weeks. Today we're covering the bigger picture: full body itching, skin rashes, and a real lasting strategy against fleas and ticks. Stick with me, because this is a full walkthrough, from stopping the itch tonight to fixing the problem for good. Let's start with the emergency fix. When your dog is scratching nonstop, their skin is genuinely inflamed. Before anything else, we need to calm that down. If you spot those raw, weepy red patches vets call hot spots, go grab a jar of unrefined, cold-pressed coconut oil. This stuff is loaded with lauric acid, a natural compound that fights both bacteria and fungus at once. Scoop a small amount onto your fingers, warm it slightly, and rub it right onto the sore patch. It cools the area almost instantly, seals out dirt, and knocks down the bacteria causing the redness. And don't worry if your dog licks it off. Coconut oil is completely safe to eat and actually good for them. Now, what if it's not a hot spot? What if what you're smelling is that weird, sour, corn chip odor coming from their paws or ears? That's not a normal allergy. That's a yeast overgrowth. The yeast responsible is called Malassezia, and it loves warm, damp spots like the skin between paw pads and deep in the ear canal. It's incredibly itchy, which is exactly why your dog can't leave their feet alone. To kill that yeast fast, reach for apple cider vinegar. Vinegar shifts the skin's pH toward acidic, and yeast simply cannot survive there. Mix it 50-50 with warm water. Never apply it undiluted. Dip a cotton ball in the solution and dab it gently between the toes or along the inner ear flap. If your dog is constantly gnawing at their feet, you can even pour the mixture into a small container and dunk each paw for a quick soak, then let it air dry. One important warning here: skip the vinegar completely if the skin is already broken, raw, or bleeding. It's an acid, and it will sting badly on open wounds. Save this trick for skin that's just itchy and smelly, not injured. What if it's not one spot, but their whole body is flaky, red, and miserable after rolling around outside? That calls for an oatmeal bath. Skip the $30 specialty shampoo. Go to your pantry instead. Take a cup of plain, unsweetened oats and blitz them in a blender until they turn into a fine powder. That powder is colloidal oatmeal, and it's remarkably effective. Here's the part people get wrong. The water needs to be lukewarm, even cool, never hot. Heat pulls blood toward the skin's surface and makes inflammation dramatically worse. Stir your oat powder into the lukewarm water until it turns milky. Then pour it over your dog's entire body and let them sit in it for a solid 10 minutes. The oatmeal forms a thin protective film that draws heat and swelling right out of the skin. Pat them dry afterward, don't rub, and you'll notice a visibly calmer, sleepier dog by bedtime. And if the itching is more about boredom or nervous energy than a physical problem, hand your dog a carrot. Chewing triggers endorphin release, which naturally eases anxiety, redirects their focus away from the itch, and gives them a solid dose of vitamin A as a bonus. All right, your dog has stopped scratching for the night, and that alone is a huge relief for both of you. If we stop here, the itching just comes back tomorrow. So now let's build the long-term shield against fleas and ticks, and after that, fix what's actually driving the problem underneath it all. Standard flea and tick treatments work by turning your dog's bloodstream mildly toxic. When a parasite bites, it ingests that toxin and dies. Effective, sure, but plenty of pet owners reasonably wonder if it's really ideal to keep their dog's blood chemically loaded month after month. If you'd rather go the natural route, the goal shifts. Instead of poisoning the bug, we change how your dog smells and tastes so parasites avoid them entirely. First step, make their blood unappetizing. A small splash of that same apple cider vinegar or a pinch of turmeric blended with a bit of coconut oil mixed into their daily meal slightly alters the acidity and flavor of their blood. You and your dog won't notice a thing, but to a flea or tick, it's like taking a sip of something sour and repulsive. If a bug does bite, it typically detaches and drops off almost immediately. Second step, make your dog nearly impossible to detect. Fleas and ticks don't rely on eyesight. They hunt by scent, tracking the carbon dioxide and lactic acid your dog naturally gives off. Brewer's yeast disrupts this. It's rich in B vitamins, and when you sprinkle about half a teaspoon over their food each day, it gets absorbed and slowly released through the skin and sweat glands. The result is an odorless barrier that you'll never notice, but that makes your dog smell bitter and unappealing to any parasite that lands on them. A small pinch of dried rosemary sprinkled into food can produce a similar repelling effect. But what if fleas are already an active problem? Then you need to break their life cycle, and that's where raw pumpkin seeds come in. Not the sweet canned pumpkin, the actual whole seeds. They contain an amino acid called cucurbitin, a natural paralytic against parasites and intestinal worms. Grind a spoonful in a coffee grinder and mix the powder into your dog's food. As it moves through their system, it helps knock out internal worms. And as skin cells naturally shed into their bedding, it creates conditions flea larvae struggle to survive in. Simple, cheap, and genuinely effective. So now we've calmed the skin and repelled the bugs from outside. The final piece is the one most people completely overlook, fixing things from the inside. Here's a fact that surprises most pet owners. Chronic itching almost never starts on the skin. It starts in the gut. Cheap commercial dog foods are often loaded with corn, wheat, and starchy fillers. Once inside the body, those starches convert straight into sugar. And sugar is exactly what feeds yeast and bad bacteria. A diet built around dry, starchy kibble throws the gut out of balance, leading to what's known as leaky gut, where the immune system stays stuck in overdrive. It starts overreacting to completely harmless things like pollen or dust, and that overreaction shows up on the skin as redness and relentless itching. If you want to fix the itch permanently, you fix the gut first. The simplest way in is probiotics, good bacteria added straight into their daily food. A spoonful of plain, unsweetened kefir, plain yogurt, or pure canned pumpkin does the job beautifully. These build up a healthy bacterial lining in the digestive tract, which settles the immune system, reduces allergic overreaction, and starves out the yeast responsible for that corn chip smell. Give this a few weeks of consistency, and you'll typically notice less scratching, a shinier coat, and far fewer of those sudden flare-ups that seem to come out of nowhere. Now, a serious warning before you buy any yogurt or kefir. Check the ingredient label carefully. You are looking for xylitol, sometimes listed under the name birch sugar. It's an artificial sweetener found in many diet or sugar-free dairy products, and even a tiny trace of it can cause fatal liver damage in dogs. Only ever buy plain, unsweetened varieties with zero artificial sweeteners. Last internal fix, and this one directly affects how easily fleas can even bite your dog. Every 21 days, your dog regrows their entire outer layer of skin. That's a recurring opportunity to build something tougher and healthier. But new skin cells are built from fat, and if your dog's food has been sitting open in a bag for weeks, those healthy fats have already oxidized and lost their value. To build thick, resilient, bite-resistant skin, you need to add omega-3s and collagen back into their diet. The cheapest, easiest source is a can of sardines packed in plain water, no added salt. Mash one up and mix it into their food twice a week for a serious omega-3 boost. Not a fan of fish? A plain cooked egg works too, or better yet, make homemade bone broth and pour a splash over their kibble for a natural collagen boost that supports hydrated, healthier skin. One rule here, never use pre-made bone broth from the grocery store soup aisle. It's usually seasoned with onion and garlic, both toxic to dogs. Just simmer plain chicken or beef bones in water using a slow cooker at home. Cheap, safe, and genuinely great for their coat. That was a lot of ground covered. Vinegar, turmeric, brewer's yeast, oatmeal, coconut oil, kefir, pumpkin seeds, sardines. If you're feeling a bit overwhelmed picturing all of this in one bowl, take a breath, because you absolutely do not need to use everything at once. Dump 7 new ingredients into your dog's dinner tonight, and you'll likely deal with an upset stomach tomorrow instead of clearer skin. The real secret is rotation. Just like you wouldn't want to eat the exact same meal every day, your dog benefits from variety too. Here's an easy formula to follow. Each day, scoop out a little less kibble to make room, then add 3 things. 1 skin builder, an egg one day, sardines a couple days later, 1 gut helper, a spoonful of yogurt or pumpkin, and 1 bug repellent, a pinch of brewer's yeast or a splash of vinegar. That's the whole system. 10 extra seconds of prep, rotated through the week, and you're rebuilding gut health, calming the skin, and shielding against parasites all at once. Dealing with chronic itching and fleas is genuinely one of the toughest parts of owning a dog. It's frustrating, and it can feel like nothing works. But choosing to understand what's actually happening in their body and reaching for gentler options instead of just masking symptoms with chemicals is one of the clearest signs of how much you care. If this video gave you a clear plan and some hope for your itchy pup, tap that like button. It genuinely helps this kind of information reach more pet owners who need it. And if you want more breakdowns like this one, hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Now I want to hear from you in the comments. Is your dog currently dealing with itchy skin, fleas, or honestly both at once? And out of everything covered today, which ingredient are you adding to their bowl first thing tomorrow morning? Take care of that itch the natural way, and I'll see you in the next one.